Hello, everybody. This is Susie Curtis with Ready, Set, Treat, and I am here with Kristen Goodrich as usual. But we have a very special guest tonight who has agreed to come talk with us. Her name is Tosha Gaines, and we are here to talk to you tonight about the racial climate here in the United States of America that's been around for centuries, but it is particularly heightened right now in the middle of a pandemic, nonetheless. But Tosha is here to particularly address how it affects us as therapists. And I think that that's an important topic that we can talk about here with Ready, Set, Treat. And we're so excited that she's joined us because let's be honest, Kristen and I, two white chicks from New Hampshire, are probably the last few people that should be teaching you all about this topic. We know that. And so we really needed to call a friend on this one. So we're really excited to have Tosha here with us. So Tosha, why don't you introduce yourself and just kind of explain who you are, where you're from, what type of therapist you are, how you got into this field, because you are amazing, first of all. This girl has practices in 2 different states. So why don't you kind of just give us the 411 on your background and all that good stuff.
Okay, well, my name is Tosha Gaines, of course. I am originally from Birmingham, Alabama. I do commute between Birmingham, Alabama, and Atlanta, Georgia, but I'm actually in the suburbs of Atlanta. I'm in Smyrna, Georgia, which is probably 15 minutes outside of Atlanta. And you know what the Atlanta Braves are? This is where I live, just like a couple of blocks from the Atlanta Braves Stadium. So fun times all the time. I could just walk to a game and have fun. So I went to the University of Alabama at Birmingham for grad school for occupational therapy. My background is actually health promotion with kinesiology and also pre-med. So I wanted to be a doctor, and I was like, when I got there, I was like, nah, not really. I like to be home with a kid and too much work. And I actually like my brain. I don't want to be stressed out all the time. So I got into the reason why I ended up in occupational therapy because my dad was like, you're very quirky, you're very creative, you're artsy, you need to be in a career that people can accept your quirkiness. And I'm just sitting here like, I don't know how should I take that as a compliment or should I take that of like, this is something you really need to do. So my aunt is also an occupational therapist. So I ended up watching her, how she was functioning and everything. And I did observe the PT side. I was like, oh, that's like boot camp. I don't like that. It's like same that like go down up and down steps and stuff. I did get into PT school and I did get into OT school. So after I looked at the difference, like what will make my personality go and make me want to go to work, OT drew me to the creativity, what you could do with OT. You can do so much things besides doing direct care, community-based things, art. You can make it any way you want to. And people don't understand that's the new movement now for OT because OT now can do so many things. You just don't have to be sitting in one thing. And now since they're trying to push codas out, we have to start teaching codas. You're able to do more things than we can, outside what you can do for scope of practice. So that's main reason was, being OT because it's creative, but also my brother has lupus and I have watched OT, PT in our house all the time. And now to see him come from like this really skinny little runt, which he's still annoying now. They helped him with the schoolwork. I've seen him walk. I saw him go with handwriting. I saw him playing a game. I'm like, how's that part of therapy? Just playing the Nintendo. And I'm just noticing like things he liked. That's what they incorporated in his therapy. So there was a pusher there, being experienced watching it, but also being pushed by my parents, but specifically my dad, about this is something that's be more your personality. I've been an occupational therapist for 16 years now, basically in pediatrics. I love kiddos. I cannot stand adults. I hate to say that live, but it's true. My personality is more for the kids. I mean, like the kids give me energy when I'm working, and then they feed off my energy. So it makes a therapy session so much easier when they're laughing and stuff. Like even a kid just touching, like they're touching their face, just doing lotion. I'm like, oh my God, you did it after 5 sessions. That those type of things when an adult tells you, get out my room. Right. And that's different for me. But I do a lot of sensory-based therapy. I'm also really good with assistive technology, autism. Down syndrome is my jam. I love my kids with Down syndrome. They're stubborn, and that's what pushes me being a better therapist. I like their attitude because I can get them back to it. And they're like, yeah, you met the right one. So,
and how did you end up in 2 cities?
Okay, well, this is going to be bad. Since I was actually in Georgia a lot already because I'm a photographer.
Yes,
And
explain that too.
yeah, I am a photographer who works with I do branding lifestyle, and I'm doing more now. I'm rebranding my brand now to do special needs photography because there's no occupational therapist who has a PEDS background like I do can actually do the performances of working with kids like that. But also I do mental health photography, which is phototherapy, I'm also doing my capstone project on coming up in the fall. So it's going to be interesting to incorporate my two careers together and see how that works. But me being in Atlanta, I was there photographing, and I actually met a friend of mine who's there, who's an OT, which also like we end up trying to figure out which were we actually OTs or CODAs, and that's how we met. And then me being in Birmingham, so he had this great idea about, oh, we're gonna do this new, we're gonna start this company called We Both OTs for 25 plus years of company. I'm like, really? And then we end up forming Georgia Therapeutic Interventions. And then we're like, okay, since I'm from Alabama, I still want to keep my network here and my client base here. So we just combined the two cities. So we got credentialed both in Georgia and Alabama. He's credentialed in Illinois. So I haven't got credentialed there yet because I want to prefer to stay down south because I don't want him to think I really want to go to Illinois where it's cold. I don't like cold weather like they do up there. And in New Hampshire, I just no.
No, I agree.
It's really hot right now. 90s.
Yeah, my daughter went to school. My daughter actually did a college visit at the University of New Hampshire in January, and I was just looking at her like, why?
Yeah, you
Why are we?
a post on that. I remember.
Yeah,
freezing every winter. I wonder what we're doing every winter.
Yeah.
I grew up in Maine, and I'm still like, what am I doing? 40 years in.
It's Durham. I was sitting here like we were staying in Durham, and I got over there, and then they were playing lacrosse in the snow. I was like, is that possible?
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting here, I am not sitting outside to watch this. So
Kristen and I live right there. We live right minutes away from Durham. Isn't that
oh
great?
wow. They have the best coffee shop ever there, and they also have Lucy's, the hamburger place. I was like tearing that up.
We love Lexi.
Yeah, Lexi, I'm sorry. Yeah, we were there like every day. We're like, oh my god, we
So
can't
good.
leave from there. But also the city itself, I love, but it was just cold. And she got in. And I was like, please don't go to the school. Please don't go to the school.
Right.
I don't want to come visit you. But yeah, so being here in the South, I mean, it's easy because Birmingham and Atlanta are just 2 hours away from each other. So I can still do teletherapy, but also see my kids because I'm going more for the hybrid model where I can just see a patient like once a quarter or when I need to, and then just transfer it over to teletherapy. So that's how I end up doing with both states. And this makes it easier for me. And teaching the other half how to do that is still, he's like, oh my God, it's so technology based. But, since I'm really strong with technology, it makes us a good fit because he tells me what not to do, and then I tell him what to do. So it's like a yin and yang in our business relationship. So
Nice.
Well, that's perfect.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about, drawing in kind of the theme of our live tonight is just racial discrimination into the therapy world. And you mentioned as we were getting to know each other a little bit better earlier tonight that you picked up on it being present as early as your graduate studies in So talk to us about what school was like as you were learning to be an OT and how it was already present there.
Yeah, it is like, well, I went to one of the top 25 schools, and they're really dominant for occupational therapy. UAB has a lot of good therapists that come through. I ended up having actually the AOTA president as my dean at the time. So it was really fun just to have that. I love my professors there, and they were really good, and they were really diverse, and they understood because most of them were like, part of the gay and lesbian group, and you had the ones who from the country who didn't understand certain things. And like in my school, in my graduate program, I think I had 30, and it was only 4. No, it's like probably 26, and 4 were African American. So we always called ourselves the 4 little black girls since we're in Birmingham. Birmingham is known for, the civil rights movement, and that's where the bombing happened here. So we always references that sometimes just to be funny to see if anybody pick up on that. And nobody never really did. I'm like, you really don't know about that history here that in the state you're actually, studying whatnot. And then like when you're doing clinicals, it was kind of funny because luckily I was fortunate enough to harass my OT professor. Like if you put me anywhere else besides pediatrics, I would definitely be there every day, all day, and I would make you change my clinical. Because I don't want to be nowhere else. So just being in the clinic, like when you're on your field working, you have people like directing certain things to you, and you're looking at them like they make you seem like they make a reference about something, and then they make you think like you understand it. I'm like, no, I was raised not what you think I was raised. I mean, my name may be Tosha, but it's not what you think it is. Like my parents both have master's degrees. Like my dad's a military person. Like, I went to private school. So I wouldn't know what most of the life people are. But when they're stereotyping things, when they see you in clinic, they always think, oh, you understand this. Like, no, I don't. Like even I had like in school, we had these subjects and they weren't culturally sensitive. And I'm just sitting here like, I think they forgot that for what's in this class. They never go into they never looked at statistics for that. They never looked into like other things. It's always based on that one-sided thing without looking overall what the problem is. And sometimes I had to be in groups like rolling my eyes trying to avoid getting in trouble. Like I really like being an OT, but do I really like this group I'm in? So and then you also have the ones who feel like they know more than you do. And I'm like, I'm in the same program as you, and also may I have the higher GPA than you are too.
I got in the program.
Yeah, and I may got on there easily just because I had an aunt who was already went through the program. But it was just like, okay, well, you know more. You go ahead and present it. I would just get my piece in and let you do all the work. I'm not lazy, but you pushed me to that point. Right. So it was more like type stuff when you're in OT school. And then some of the ones I never clicked with just because I don't feel like they were sensitive. Like when I was in OT school, I actually had my daughter there. I mean, I had my daughter actually undergrad, and I started OT school with my daughter. And she was actually my guinea pig too for testing too. So we needed something for her class. And then, like, oh, you're struggling and stuff. It's like, no, I'm not struggling. My parents retired because I had a daughter and they want to be with the grandkid, but let me finish school. That was my deal with my parents. Like, you finish school, we'll retire, and then you'll be fine. You don't even have to work. I'm like, oh, don't work. I'm good. So that was the type of stuff, just being that stereotype, oh, like you got a kid, you're not going to finish school. I'm like, I think you don't know my parents. My parents are both, they will probably tear me up if I never did finish school. That was my promise to my dad when I had my daughter. It was like, I'll finish grad school. I would complete as much as you want me to. I would not stop. And that's what my whole goal was. But people always have that. Yeah, it was cool. Like when I graduated, it was fun seeing her like calling my name during graduation. I'm just like, oh my God, that's my kid. And she's like, like the little 3-year-old won't be quiet, But it's funny because now she wants to be a physical therapist, and I think she's a traitor, but we'll talk about that later. But that's how the OT world worked in college. So
right. And then after you graduated, what did you find?
Oh my God. I think my thing died. Hold on.
Can you hear me?
By accident.
Okay. Let me know if you can hear us.
I can't. It's just you know how you have telehealth issues when you're like,
I sure do.
So that's one that you just gotta prepare yourself. Okay, there we go.
All right. So after you graduated school and you were working in the field, what did you find in terms of experiences there that were based on race or?
Wow. My first job was actually early intervention, and I was actually the first African American to work there, where I worked my first job. My first job was only making $35,000 a year, no benefits. I just loved the atmosphere where I was working. And I remember one day I was with a family, one of my kiddos with Down syndrome, and the lady was like, "Oh my God, you got out the ghetto, be able to do this, and you're able to do that with a kid." And I'm just sitting here like, I wonder where she get this indication that I'm from the ghetto. Like she literally said ghetto. And I'm like, what is the ghetto? Wow. Like, I don't understand that. And then I was like telling her, I said, well, ma'am, I went to this school here. She said, your parents are able to afford that?
Wow.
I was like, yeah. And I was like, well, my dad owns his own business for the last 35 years. And he was the first part of the millionaire club for his business. So I'm like, yeah, my parents are able to afford that. And my mom was also working for the federal government as a supervisor. And I'm like, well, my parents both have good jobs. And yeah, all of us went to private schools. And they said, oh, I didn't know offense, but you having a kid, I know that you had struggles. I said, no, I really didn't have struggles. My parents retired. And I got smart with it. Unlike your kid who's 16 and pregnant and you're a doctor. I was like, I'm 21. And when I had my daughter, like literally I was 21, 22, something like that. But, she just made the stereotypical, like, this is this is that. There's times when I worked in the clinic and I can remember like patients always not thinking that I was the OTR. They also thought, oh, you're a coder or you just finished school. I said, no, I've actually been out of school for a long time and I'm not the coda. I'm actually over the coda. I'm the R. We work together. We don't work above each other. We work equally. Like I appreciate my codas because they know more than I do with patients. Like the codas I have had in the past period have been awesome. But when you get to a patient, they see an African American person in the clinic, and I'm typically only African American there, and you're like always that, and you get that stereotype like, oh no, you're just a coder, you didn't finish your master program or anything, you're just a 2-year person. Like, no, I finished a UAB, a dominant program, and I came out, on top of my class as well. So I don't get it. And with Marcus is being a male occupational therapist, and you really don't see many African American males who are OTs. Like if you look minority wise, the statistics, you see probably more like 5% of OTs are African American, and maybe 0.3% are African American men.
Wow.
So there's not many of us there, and it's hard to try to push then you try to figure out why there's a disparity there in being an occupational therapist. Like, I don't, they see how much money you got to pay, how much schooling you have to do. And that's discouraging for people because they don't understand how much work we really have to do because everybody think, oh, PT does everything. No, OTs, if any PTs are looking, I'm so sorry to say all this stuff. I do apologize.
We love you.
Respect you guys, respect you. But when it comes to us, we have so many other things we have to look at holistically, just not in this one area. And I guess people are torn away of like what things like the psychology, the science, the math. And then when you get into the school, it's overwhelming because we're taking 18, 20 hours per semester, no time to have a life. And then we we want to do something, but no, we have to go study. And then we got to pay $500 to $600 for a board, and then another $200 for our licensure. So I think the part with not getting minorities in the field is because it's the money part. That what you have to do. So when they get into the OT part and they're like, okay, I can't get in, they go down to the CODA, which is only a 2-year program. But however, there's not many CODA programs anymore. They feel like that's the easier way. And then they realize maybe I should have done the OT part. So it's really hard to try to get more minorities to do OT and understand, is more of us there. There's actually more money there for us there. When you're there, they're seeking us to come to these programs. And people don't know that because they're scared to ask. I'm sitting there like, if I knew what I went to school on the GI Bill. So I was fortunate to be able not to have to pay for grad school or anything. But watching other people say, there's grants out there. There's money they give to you. You can get a loan and you can get that canceled out in 10 years based on your race. You can get that based on where you work. And people just don't understand what's the logistics of that stuff. But it's really weird not to see more minorities and I just think they're discouraged by the money part and the educational part. So,
yeah.
Can you speak at all to kind of just like current events today? I know as a white privileged therapist up in New Hampshire, my this week was stressful. As a mental health counselor up in New Hampshire, when I look at my mental health code of ethics, I am not allowed to assert any of my personal beliefs into counseling sessions. So regardless of what people are saying to me in sessions, I just have to sit there and smile and nod.
Yeah.
And that makes sessions incredibly draining for me as an ally in a session. When I think of my sessions this week, I had a mom of a mixed race, a white mom of a mixed race child just crying during sessions, being like, what do I say to my 7-year-old son about being a proud Black child that also should be a scared Black child? I had a 20-year-old white girl whose father was a cop telling me that people shouldn't be freaking out so much.
Right.
I had another client who is a 20-something-year-old who is a guardian of her 15-year-old brother who got hit by a car riding his bike on the way to a protest.
What? Oh,
3 things that happened to 3 of my clients this week during sessions. So by the end of this week, I know I was mentally drained, right?
Yeah.
And that's me, like white girl from New Hampshire, okay? So recognizing that in the grand scheme of things, I still have it quite easy and not so stressful.
Yeah.
Okay. So how are things for you this week? I know you said you guys had a major protest near where you are, which had to be draining and scary. But you also said, like, how many clients a week did you say you saw this week? Like, so like, how are you feeling right now?
Well, I'm stressed out. I guess because like I tell, like, you know, like we talked about earlier, Birmingham is a civil rights hub.
Yeah.
This is where we had it all happen before. And me being a photographer, I'm out there capturing this stuff as well. Like Saturday when I went out there, it was peaceful. And like I lost my camera on Saturday too, because, I'm just getting out the hospital. I saw an older lady walking the street trying to hold a protest sign, and she was about to fall out. So I went straight OT mode to get her to a car, make sure she was safe. And I'm like, I just laid my camera somewhere. I don't know where it is.
Wow.
So that was draining, was losing a nice overpriced camera. And then Sunday I went to another protest, and that Sunday it was like the city officials, like awesome, just peaceful. And then when I went to Lynn Park to go watch, I don't know if you've seen on the news about the Confederate stuff we have put down and how people are like really crazy right now. So I was there during the whole time. Like the first one I saw that fall, the second one when they were trying to do with the F-10 Ford truck, which I was not going to happen. I saw that, and I saw the initiation with the riot. Like I've seen people run to the courthouse, try to burn the front of the courthouse with, Thomas Jefferson in front of it, and then throw a brick through the courthouse with fire in it. They were trying, and then there was a federal officer, and I'm seeing people run. I'm like, yeah, that wasn't a good idea. I do have two cousins who are cops, and I was worried just for their safety because just seeing all this happening. And then when I saw the really turning point of the riot, when I was getting to my car, I was about to sit down in my car, and they threw a brick, and that's what started it off into a big building. And since Birmingham, and my daughter wanted the experience just to see how a protest goes, and fighting for everything. And I didn't want to leave her by herself, so I was like, I will go with you. And I also was going to photograph and document what I can, just to have it, for people to be on my social media and say, okay, this is what's going on and stuff. And then, like I wrote on my post on Facebook, like that night, I would never forget. It would probably be something I would never get out my brain. The image of I'm seeing fire. I'm running up and down the street, trying to avoid getting hit with bean bags. I'm sitting here, I'm just here, just looking, I'm not trying to destroy anything, and I'm getting shot at because of everybody else. And it's stressful because like you tell people all the time, like I've lost a lot of friends this week based on some of my posts, but say, I'm just saying Black Lives Matter when it does. I'm not taking no accountability like all lives matter, but I'm just talking about like the social injustice I've seen with the police right now. And I'm not saying all cops are bad. I know they're not bad. I know there are some bad apples in the group. And there's certain things that happens, like, African Americans do get paid less. We have to work a little bit more harder. We have to make it seem like, hey, we are the same as you. We have the same education. Why must we have to prove ourselves to you when we went to the same program? And it's crazy. Like, I mean, not just being in the therapy where I've seen it, like I see it with Marcus when he's at work and he talks about things that happen with him. I seen it when I'm at work, but I'm lucky that I have a personality enough so I can like outsmart people when they try to make me do that. And I'm like, no, you're not going to get me in that level. I'm going to get you higher. You're going to have to meet me here before I go down to here. Yeah. But it's scary because, like, 2 days ago, actually last night, we had threats of the KKK being here in Birmingham. Like, it was white supremacists. We have the mayor being threatened about, we're going to hang him here and I'm right here. You take this down and stuff. It's scary. It's a scary time. Like, I was walking around Birmingham today, and my brother had to pop up. He said, I told you not to walk around by yourself. We don't, stuff like that. Like, well, I just want to see what's going on, Yeah. But it's crazy. I mean, like, I have really good friends or allies with me, and they've been friends with me. They've been really good. It was funny because last night I had like 7 text messages saying, do you need to stay with us tonight just in case? I'm like, no, I'm in Atlanta right now. I'm safe right now. But, they're like, when you come back, you need to stay with us. We don't want anything happening to you. But, at the end, you find out who really your friends are, who really understand what you're feeling and not trying to push their views on you. And you find out other people that don't share the same views as you are. They feel like they're always right. Like, I had so many Facebook discussions with people that I never thought I will be arguing with. And I wasn't trying to argue, but I was just trying to prove a point. And I had to end the conversation. Us being OTs, we learn how to make things easier at the end. Yeah. I said, just we can agree to disagree. We can do it, leave it here. You're going to have your opinion, and everybody has, everybody have their opinion, like a certain body part. I'm gonna leave it there. And then she just kept taunting and taunting. She said, well, I want you to agree, not disagree with me. I'm like, well, I'm never gonna agree with you because you don't see it from my point of view.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. And then she got on my daughter, calling my daughter white privilege because she's went to private schools. She plays lacrosse, and lacrosse is really not, an African American sport. And my daughter had been playing since she was in 5th grade. And, we travel up north. I quit my full-time job for her to travel over the summer for her to play lacrosse, like in Virginia, Maryland, New York, California. I know, it was everywhere. And, and then she was like, well, your daughter's a white privileged person. Anyway, she would never know what it mean to be African American. I'm like, away from this conversation. And then another person told me I need counseling because I don't understand the true meaning of being a Southerner because I don't agree with the Confederacy. And I'm like, we lost. Wow. Why are we celebrating this Confederate? We lost bad. Like we lost the Vietnam War. We don't glorify the Vietnam War. We glorify the Confederacy. Mm-hmm. And it's things like it's part of history, and I understand that, but that has so many meaning with the Confederacy and slavery together. And people don't understand what it means, like why we lost, what's the reason why we lost. And then, like I said, Birmingham's going crazy because we took down one of the biggest monuments in Alabama. Mobile did the same thing. Mobile did it like nobody didn't know about. You woke up like, okay, it's gone. I'm like, wow. And, we started a revolution around because Richmond now's going to take out Robert E. Lee right now.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, Birmingham started that, and it's like the same thing that happened back in the 60s. Is the civil rights hub, and we're doing the same thing again. I don't agree with the rioting and stuff because I feel like we end up hitting businesses that should never been hit, period. I mean, like all the places I hang out at, I watched it get hit. I seen people get hurt. It was depressing. I mean, this is a depressing time right now. And, we all just don't know how to, I didn't think I would live through a pandemic. I didn't think I would live through this.
Right. Going on
all at the same time.
Like I'm sitting here, like we still have COVID, guys. So I'm over here sitting around with this big old respiratory mask. Big old masks. Yeah, I'm just sitting here like, this is like the apocalypse happening all over. Starting now. Like, I'm not waiting for the zombies.
I know that Kristen and I have kind of taken the stance of listen and learn. Like we're trying to absorb as much as we can while also trying to do something. And I know that what we've kind of chosen to do with Ready, Set, Treat, instead of kind of like the larger Black Lives Matter platform, is what can we do for the Black community who are entrepreneurs. You are an entrepreneur. You're starting this like amazing private practice here in 2 separate states, which is phenomenal.
I'll advise anybody, do not do that. Stay in one state until you get COVID.
So one thing that we are doing is we kind of researched different organizations that specifically targeted Black people or people of color in general that are working with entrepreneurs, and we found this organization called Black Girl Ventures, and we just love their vibe. They just had such a positive spirit, uplifting kind of message on helping Black girls and women start their own businesses. So obviously that's something that Kristen and I love. And we are going to donate 50% of our profit during the month of June, which we wish our profit was huge. But we hope to, and maybe we'll end up donating more than 50%. We'll see. In terms of kind of supporting their mission as a business. And then we also, for every book that we sell during the month of June, which the more books people buy, the more we can donate, we're going to give copies. Buy our book. If you haven't bought our book yet, this is the way to do it. We're going to give donated copies to their organization as well, to give to anyone who is in the healthcare field that might be looking to start their own healthcare business.
Yeah.
Really does. It's generic enough that you could use it to start whatever type of healthcare private practice you wanted to, whether it's OT, PT, mental health, dietitians, nurse practitioners, really anybody could use it as just a general structure to start their own private practice. So we're really excited about being able to do this for both the Black community, but just the, minority community at large. And we didn't know if you had a message that you'd be able to give to anybody out there listening during this crazy time right now. Like, what would you like to send us off with, Tasha?
I'm trying to think of something that's good. It's not bad. I think more so is it's understanding for us right now. And it's like, it's hard to explain from both ends, explain like this is what we've been going through, and it took these series of events for you to really realize this is what we're talking about. We weren't making this stuff up. This stuff really happens. And just be there to understand us, and just be there to just listen. Like, if we're telling you something that's going to affect us, do that. And it's one thing I always tell like my students who I have in field work is that you have to be socially sensitive. You have to understand that everybody's not going to have the same background as you. You just can't say certain things, and you have to understand who they are. And that's one thing I love my organization. I love OT, but sometimes I feel like we forget that. And that's part of our framework. We have to be culturally sensitive. That is in our frameworks. And people forget like to incorporate those things. And even for the African-American community, there's certain things that, we like older people like to sew, people like to cook. Think about things that back for them will make them want to be more active in their community and stuff like that. And if you have friends, and they know you're going, check on them. All your friends are not okay right now. Everybody's tensed up. Everybody's nervous because, like I said, here in Alabama, I can just walk the street and I don't know if they're really going to have the KKK actually coming back out here. I don't know if white supremacists is going to come back out there. Just be there for them. Just know that, they're not doing this they're not. Like, I guess for me, I tell my friends on Instagram, I said, please forgive me right now that I'm standing up for my race. Thank you for being my ally, and thank you for being there for me. I love you all. Continue to support me. And, that's what they've been doing every day. Like, I have a lot of my photography friends checking on me every day. Like, are you feeling okay? Have you meditated? Have you thought, do we need to bring you anything? And I say, it's not that. I just need a comfort of sense of mind that maybe this will make the world change, to understand that, there is a difference between black and white, and I was raised not to see color, but I knew what I had. I know what was out there, but I was also aware what a situation is. Because like even in high school, I went to a dominant like private high school, and I watched it in high school. Like, I'm active in school, but a girl who didn't do anything run homecoming queen when you had 3 African Americans on homecoming court who were very active in the school, and she won. And because she was white, and we were sitting here like, she rides horses. I'm the president of the SGA, and you're thinking all of these thoughts, and then you realize people are still backwood. Like, I actually found out a couple of months ago that half my classmates was racist, and I was like, wow, now it makes sense, But it's just to be there, support, listen. If you believe in the cause, join us too. Just don't do no riots, no looting. Just making known that you guys understand that all lives do matter, but also Black lives matters too, because we have a lot of people who are killed for no senseless reasons, and people are just losing jobs and can't get jobs basically because they have a stereotypical or a stereotype at them. So. That's probably the best message I can do. And then, like, if you see people and they're really capable of being entrepreneurs, and you see the potential, push them. Like for me, it took me a while to realize I am really good at my job. I don't need to work for anybody else because I can do the same exact thing and do it probably better, because you learn working with other people what not to do. And so for me, it was like, okay, since they're making me do this, I know how I feel about it. I don't want to make nobody feel the same way I feel at work. So, if you see the potential there, that they're going to do good doing their own, push them to do that. Tell them to work on their own and show them ways how to do it. Like, I'm fortunate enough to have people to, when I got to Georgia, I mean, they have been the best people who pushed me for my practice. They said, what you work is what will motivate you to do better. And that's been the best thing. And they've been my allies since I've been there. And I've been in Georgia since December. And I'm this far into my practice right now and getting clients and stuff. So support as much as you can. We need help as well. So
And in terms of supporting you with your businesses, are there any resources, websites, Facebook pages that people could like, either your OT businesses or your photography business or
there's so many stuff.
Anything, all of it.
Like if you're gonna look for me on Instagram for my photography, it's Tosha Tosha Photo PHOTOG. The reason why is that now my first Instagram and Facebook have been hacked and deleted, so I lost 3,000 followers from my Instagram.
What?
And then for my photography page, I ended up losing probably 5,000 followers from a photography page. So I'm just rebuilding back now because I'm saying, like, when I got hacked, they hacked me bad, and Facebook.
All right, we're gonna build this up again.
And then for my business is you're gonna look for me on Georgia, like for my therapy business. It's called Georgia Therapeutic Interventions. And I don't think I did the username for it yet. I still haven't done the Instagram because it's been kind of since I've been ill for a long time and finally got hospitalized, I couldn't really focus. So now I'm going to be adding like little tidbits of things I make because if you ever want to see my MacGyver of OT, I am definitely it. So
we'll follow up, and you keep sending us information, and we'll be sure to post it and share it with Ready Set Treat. We're good at that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and we'll post the links below the video on how to link up with Tosha's social media. Yeah, so you can follow her. We can build her back up.
Yes,
and share the heck out of her.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tosha, so much for sharing your experience with us, giving us such valuable advice. We are so honored to have you with us here. And if anybody has any questions for Tosha or any personal stories that you'd like to share about your experience about racism trickling into the therapeutic field, please share them below this video. The more we can listen and learn from you guys, the better we will become allies. And our thoughts are with all of you guys during this time of total insanity in the world.
Yeah, it's kind of craziness. Crazy.
And thanks again. We hope everybody stays safe and has a good night.
Bye, y'all.
Bye. Bye.